all these games are pretty fun.
It's the same defense we played on Christmas Eve that let Amari Cooper get 260 yards.
Dolphins cannot swim in 0-degree water. It just doesn't happen.
So Josh Allen, I mean, he can be the best quarterback in the NFL, or he can just play down to his opponents and be one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. He is very up or down. What do you think is going to be in the Super Bowl?
Ooh, I like this. Welcome to Catching a Vibe. This is episode 31. I'm your host, Drew. Today, I'm joined by my good buds. We got Andrew Brady, DFS by the numbers, and we got Chris Pinnell. We got some football gurus today. We're going to talk about the NFL Wildcard round. Fellas, how are we doing today?
Doing great. Looking forward to be back. Just had a stream with you not too long ago, so looking forward to being another good one.
Yeah. Andrew, how are we doing?
Looking forward to it, man. We were talking yesterday. I mean, all these games are pretty fun. Outside like the Steelers game, I'm not too excited about, but every other game I think is fire.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. So we'll go game by game. To start, the Ravens and Niners have the byes. Are you guys surprised by those are the two teams that have a bye?
No, not for me especially. I've been on the 49ers train ever since we saw earlier in the season, this Brock Purdy, he's always like the weak link for that team, but he's been playing his role exceptionally well. And as long as he's just doing his job, they have too many skill position players for them to not be able to work out. It's been doing well this season, so no surprise there for me.
Yeah, for sure.
From the beginning, I'm with Chris. The 49ers were going to be that team. The Ravens, I wasn't so sure, but how they've been playing, they deserve a bye for sure.
Yeah. I thought when Chris, you came on, I thought the Eagles were the best team in the NFC. That right after I say that, they just shit the bed and haven't won since, I think.
I think they turned into like a bottom 5 team in the NFL ever since. Just had time in there.
Right. So we'll start off with the Saturday game. We got the Browns, Texans. I'm repping my team. What do you guys think about this game?
So I'll start. I'll let Andrew go next. I think it's going to be a bit of a tough game just because we're on the road. I still expect Cleveland to come out ahead. I was looking at the spreads here, and I was kind of surprised it was so close. I thought we might be 4 to 5 point favorites. We're at 2.5, but with them being on the road, I still think that's respectable. Obviously, the Browns took care of business versus the Texans not too long ago, but obviously Stroud. So that's the complete X factor there. But we've had a bye week. Well, bye week versus the Bengals because we rested the starters. So hopefully
about 30 guys we rested.
Exactly. So hoping we can come in strong. I feel pretty good about it, but it's obviously going to be close.
Andrew?
Yeah, I think if it was at home, it'd be a completely different story. Browns all day. Yeah, away scares me a little bit, and Stroud scares me. I mean, Stroud's extremely good. The problem with Stroud, though, in these Texans is a couple things. The first thing, he doesn't have a ton of weapons. He has Nico Collins, and that's it. Tank Dell out for the year. Noah Brown's been banged up, plus he's not that great. And then Robert Woods is completely washed, also banged up. So it's Nico Collins, and that's it. So stop Nico Collins, and that's it should be a pretty easy win. And then also the Texans defense, just not good. I think Flacco is going to stay hot and really do whatever he wants with his defense. And Joku Cooper, they should go off. So stop Nico Collins, and that's their offense right now.
Yeah, and I don't think we should have a problem with that with our 3 lockdown corners. It's the same defense we played on Christmas Eve that let Amari Cooper get 260 yards. So I'm feeling confident. I think I would rather play the Jaguars, but they just fell apart at the end, dude.
Yeah, I was rooting for the Jaguars in that game just because Trevor Lawrence is a fine quarterback, but I just didn't want to face CJ Stroud, especially on the road over there in the Dome. But I think we have the corners to do. I was looking at some of the PFF stats, and I believe Emerson, our Browns cornerback, he is one of the absolute top-rated guys.
By the way, I think.
Exactly. So if we can contain Nico Collins, obviously you're going to have some help on Dalton Schultz and Mechie, and I think Hutchinson's the other guy, and Singletary, but I still think we should be fine.
Yeah. I totally agree with you guys. So what's our score prediction? What do you guys have?
You got one, Andrew?
Score prediction. So I think it's going to be a high scoring game. I think both these offenses have been playing incredible. Let me say 27-21, 27-21 Browns.
Wow. Very similar on my part, but Chris, you go ahead.
Yeah, I was thinking probably something close to around 27, 30 points for the Browns here and about 24 for the Texans. About a couple touchdowns and a field goal, but I do think it's going to be close. I mean, I think the spread's pretty much right on here with 2.5-point favorites. I don't think it's going to be too far off.
Right. So my prediction, I have 27-14 Browns.
Okay.
All right.
So pretty similar to Andrew. I just think, you take away Nico Collins, we should get the dub. And I know Stroud's a rookie. I think if you get after his ass, he's bound to make rookie mistakes. I know he hasn't done very many, but I think we could get him in his first playoff game. I really do.
And if you watch that Colts game, I mean, he had time to throw the ball, and obviously the Colts secondary isn't nearly as Cleveland. And Myles Garrett's going to apply pressure, so he's not going to have that same kind of time to throw like he is versus Cleveland this week.
Yeah, and I think making Stroud make mistakes, throw interceptions, like interceptions could be big here for the Browns because Stroud does throw some picks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's going to be slinging it. And the one thing we do have is we have experience with Joe Flacco. I mean, he has ran through the playoffs before, so it's obviously having that veteran leadership compared to a rookie. Like, obviously, CJ Stroud's a better quarterback, but having that experience, veteran experience, and such a well-rounded team that the Browns have, I feel pretty comfortable with that.
Yeah, I think Flag Daddy's going to get us past this round, to be honest with you. The legend. All right, next game, we have the Chiefs versus Dolphins. I like this game a lot. What do you guys think?
I would like it better if it's in Miami because I do have concerns here because I was looking at the temperatures. It's going to be 0 degrees in KC. And I don't think Tua is built for this kind of weather. And I think there's going to be a little bit of a breeze. So, I like the Chiefs here quite a bit. They should, I think, roll them at home here in Arrowhead. But what's your guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah, dolphins cannot swim in 0-degree water. It just doesn't happen. Man, the Dolphins are a team that I think we talked about a little bit, Chris. When they play like the bottom tier teams, they roll them over. Dolphins look like the best team in the league. Yeah, and then when they play anybody somewhat good, like they look terrible. I'm not sure what's going on here. Yeah. The Chiefs this year, though, they've been off too. They haven't been looking good, and I think a big part of that is Patrick Mahomes has nobody to throw to. I mean, those wide receivers continue to drop passes. We saw Rice step up a little bit. Hardman, I think, could potentially step up as well. But yeah, he doesn't have a ton of weapons. But still, I like the Chiefs' defense, and I think that the Dolphins, especially going into Kansas City in this very cold weather, I think that the Chiefs make this honestly look pretty easy. The Dolphins just seem to choke against anybody somewhat good, and I think the Chiefs are somewhat good, and I think the Chiefs could potentially turn it around in these playoffs. They've been here before. Mahomes has been here before, so I like the Chiefs here quite a bit.
Yeah, and I just saw today that the Patriots have more wins than the Dolphins against plus 500 teams.
Holy crap.
And the Patriots, I think, have won 4 or 5 games this year.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. It's been bad.
Like we said, Mahomes, he's still the best quarterback in the league. I trust that. Chiefs, they're battle-tested. They've been to the Super Bowl twice. They've been to, 5 AFC championship games?
5 or 6, yeah.
5 or 6. And it's going to be 0 degrees. And as Andrew said, Dolphins can't swim when it's frozen. So, yeah, the Dolphins are banged up too. They've had so many injuries on that defense. Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb, Javon Holland, their safety. He's like hurt both knees somehow, some way. I just think they're too banged up for him.
I want to mention on the offense side of things too. They have Jalen Waddle, who's banged up. He's questionable for this game. Hoping he plays. And then Raheem Mostert as well. Which they have a great offense, but Tua. I really don't think Tua is that good. He's obviously gets bailed up by Tyreek Hill a lot. Just throw it down there, Tyreek somewhere. But I don't really
throw it. Yeah. So I know. So what do you guys score prediction for Chiefs Dolphins?
I wouldn't be surprised if it's like 28-20 from KC. I think they can cover 4, but I'm just mainly concerned about the weather here for Tua. That's about it.
Right. Gotcha. Andrew?
Yeah, this total confuses me. Like, it's set at 44. I have a feeling this is either going to like soar over or like soar under. Like, I don't think there's any in between. I kind of lean towards it being like a shootout type game, but I'm going to say 31-24 shootout. I think we get lots of points here, and 2 really good offenses going against each other here.
Respect that score. For me, I'm sorry, Keist. I love you, bro, but I'm going Chiefs 21, Dolphins 13. The Dolphins haven't proved they could beat anyone good this year.
Yeah.
So we'll see. All right, on to Sunday's games. We have, this might be a snooze fest, the Buffalo Bills versus the Steelers. What do you guys think about this game? And also, the Steelers might be the luckiest team ever. You know, they just always find a way to make the playoffs, and I think they suck, to be honest.
Oh, they are not a good football team. And just by advanced metrics, I don't have the stats to pull it up, but just some of their numbers, they are honestly like one of the luckiest teams ever to have like
Right.
10 wins. But the one
Right.
thing I want to mention for this game, which is probably the most important, the total was 42 when it opened. It's now down to 36.5. And the reason for that being is that we have a ton of wind. It's going to be, I believe, around 15, 20 miles per hour sustained. And then you can get 30 to 40 mile per hour gusts. So it's probably going to be a bit of a game that the defenses are going to look not too bad, because I don't think the Pittsburgh Steelers offense is going to have really too much for Buffalo. Josh Allen and company, I think, will kind of roll them over. There's a reason they're 10-point favorites. So I think Buffalo wins comfortably.
Gotcha. Andrew?
Yeah, my least favorite game of the week, and with you guys, like, not sure how the Steelers squad made the playoffs. It's kind of crazy, to be honest. I mean, I don't think this team's that great. I think the spread's where it's at for a reason. Bills -10, it makes sense to me. I don't think it's going to be that much of a competitive game. And yeah, the Bills should run them over. They have too many weapons. They have Kincaid, they have Diggs, obviously, they have Shakir, they have of course James Cook. And I think they make it look pretty easy here in this one.
Gotcha. And off topic, but I did like a parlay for the Dolphins Bills game, and I did like Tua over 200 yards passing, Josh Allen over 250 passing, catches, James Cook 40 yards. James, you ran for 200 yards against the Cowboys, but you can't get 40 yards for me, my guy. I was so pissed, but
he was close, wasn't he? 35 or something.
Yeah, and one run he lost like 4 yards. And I was like, there we go. That just stabbed me in the back. But yeah, I think the Bills definitely should win big unless Josh Allen does Josh Allen things and just turns the ball over at the worst times. Like the game, what was that, Sunday night? He just like the 2 red zone picks. If that's any other team that wins against good teams, the Bills lose that game.
Yeah, we talked about that when we did our stream not too long ago, where I said Josh Allen, I mean, he can be the best quarterback in the NFL, or he can just play down to his opponents and be one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. Like, he is very up or down.
Yeah, it's crazy how like different, like how incredible he can look and how incredibly dumb he could look. There's no in the middle with him. So, score prediction for you boys. I know we think it's going to not be a great game, but do you guys have one?
I have 21-10.
21-10?
Yeah, 31 points score seems good to me. I think it's going to be a defensive game. 21-10.
21-10.
24-13. I just don't really think the Steelers are going to be able to put up too many points, and that win's obviously going to be a big factor as well.
Right. I said 28-10. So we're pretty close, all of our scores. So next game, we have the Cowboys versus the Packers. Before we start, I just want to say I called the Packers having a decent year. You know, me and Andrew did a over and unders video, and I said the Packers over 7 wins. So here they are now. They're playing 7th seed against the Cowboys. What do you guys think about this game?
I don't really like the Cowboys in general, but for this playoff season, I think the Dallas Cowboys are definitely going to be a threat. I do think they'll meet the 49ers in the NFC Championship game, which I believe was a rematch from a few years ago. But I'm looking forward to it. The Dallas offense, especially at home in the Jerry Dome, they look good. Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Tony Pollard, and Brandon Cooks, Ferguson. So I think they'll have no problem beating Green Bay. Now, Green Bay is a team that could be better versus the pass than they are versus the run, but it's been pretty tough to stop CeeDee Lamb this year. So I think they just continue to roll.
No doubt. Andrew?
Yeah, I think the Packers could be a wild card in these playoffs. I mean, Jordan Love's been playing out of his mind, and he's missing
Balling.
weapons too. It's ridiculous. He's missing his best weapon, Watson. We see Jalen Reed going out there and doing incredible things, and the Cowboys are just another one of these teams that just choke. You know, they choke a lot.
Right.
So this could be like a live like underdog spot here for the Green Bay Packers. I mean, they've just been looking incredible, and like I said, the Dallas Cowboys. There's just games where it's like, what the heck is going on? Like, how are they losing this one, right? So. The Packers, I think, could potentially pull it off here, and I think I'm going to pick a decent size upset. They're 7.5 underdogs.
Wow, the upset. I respect that.
Yeah.
So for me, Cowboys, I think this is their best chance since they won in 95. Now they're playing good. Dak has played his best year of his career. CeeDee Lamb, I think it's time to say he's a top 5, maybe top 3 receiver. He's been going off. And the Packers, Jordan Love, he's been balling. I saw a stat today where it's like Jordan Love has thrown 30 touchdowns to his weapons in their first or second year in the league. Like the Packers receiving core is young. I was impressed by seeing that, but I think it's going to be a really close game, to be honest. Like we said, Cowboys are known for getting their fans up, happy, then just choking in the playoffs.
Yeah, I certainly can see both ways. Like the Packers certainly could upset. I mean, I don't see it happening, but if there is one team that's going to choke, that's obviously like a first or second seed. I mean, I do think the Cowboys could be one of the ones that do go out early, but I do like them at home a lot. But I could see it.
It definitely helps that they're home because they are damn good at home.
Mm-hmm.
So score prediction for the Packers and Cowboys.
I would say 30-24 Dallas.
30-24. Okay. Andrew?
I had 31-30 Packers, close game.
Wow.
I think it's going to be the highest scoring game of the week.
Is that a game-winning kick or?
Could be. You never know. Maybe a Jordan Love come from behind touchdown to end the game. You never know.
Like a Rodgers drive against the Cowboys? He owns the Cowboys, dude. Yeah. So for me, I'm going to go 24-21 Cowboys. I think my uncle would be pissed at me if I picked the Packers, so I'm going to rock with the Cowboys. That's for you, Uncle Greg. So next we have the Rams and Lions. I think this might be the best game of round 1 of the playoffs. I really do.
I agree. It's got the highest over-under of the week, 51.5 points, so it should be a good one for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess I'll start here. I think the Rams can upset the Lions here. Like, I know everyone likes Detroit. It's a feel-good story. For sure, everyone likes their head coach, and this is on the road. But Matthew Stafford, I mean, I'm not sure it's really on the road. He's played in Detroit many times in his career, obviously.
How many years did he play?
Was
13 years? How many years did he play with Detroit?
It's been a long time. So, Detroit's got a great offense. They did lose Sam Laporta because they were pushing starters in last week of the season, so that's going to be a bit of an issue. But Detroit's defense versus the pass, they're terrible. They get shredded every single week, it seems like. Nick Mullins has 800 yards against them in 2 weeks. So I think Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, Tyler Higbee, and Kyron Williams, who's been incredible this year. Honestly, his numbers are not too far off of CMC's.
Yeah,
if they can put up the points and keep up with Detroit's offense, I think they can win and hang in this game for sure.
Yeah. Was Kyron Williams, wasn't he like second Russian and he missed like 4 games this year?
Something like that. I know he was 7th in fantasy points and he missed like almost half the season.
Golly, dude. Shout out Kyron. Andrew, what you got?
Yeah, this is probably the game that I'm struggling with the most. I think it's a super competitive game. I like both teams a lot. It's kind of hard to pick one, but I think I'm with Chris. I think we're going to get some upsets this week, and I think the Rams are very live to go into Detroit and pull off the upset. Like Chris said, this Rams offense, I mean, how are you going to stop this offense? Because you have to worry about Kyron Williams, who's just incredible, unstoppable. And then you have Puka, Cooper Kupp, some other good guys. Who's that Robinson guy that just came out of nowhere and all of a sudden is doing incredible? So I mean, I think it's gonna be really tough to really stop both these offenses, but I think losing Laporta is like a massive hit for the Lions. That's just another big weapon they lost. So I'll say Rams like ever so slightly, but I'm with you guys. I think it's one of the best games of the week here.
For me, I think Stafford's going to show Detroit who's daddy again. I just think that Detroit Lions defense is not that good. And I think the Rams are like the hottest team in the league right now. I think they've won the last 3 games or something like that.
Yeah. And don't forget, a few weeks ago, they almost beat Baltimore in overtime in Baltimore.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty shocked that the Rams made the playoffs too.
Yeah, I think at the start of the season they weren't too hot. I kind of dismissed them, and then just a few weeks ago, I'm like, hey, the Rams will make the playoffs.
Yeah. So score prediction for you fellas.
I think it's going to be high. I think it's like 34-31 type of game, but I'll take LA in the upset.
LA. Okay.
Yeah, I have 27-24, 51 points scored.
Wow. Close game. For me, I am going Rams 34, Lions 27. Stafford breaks the heart of all the Detroit Lions fans.
It'd be a good story, wouldn't it? Well, not for Detroit.
Yeah.
But
Right. It's kind of like when LeBron won as the ship and came back and beat her ass again.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So the last game, the Monday night game, we have the Eagles versus Bucks. This game, I don't know what could happen, to be honest with you. The Eagles started off 10-0, and they've just fallen head first. And the Bucks, they sneaked into the playoffs. Shout out Bake, the Bake Show.
Good for him. I got to see him succeed.
Yeah, I am too. As a Browns fan, I can appreciate what he's done for the Browns. Chris, start us off here with this matchup.
Well, I hate this. I'm not sure I hate to say it, but it just feels weird picking the Bucks over the Eagles. But I think they can pull it up here at home. Yeah. If this was in Philly, I'd probably be singing a different tune. The Bucks come in as 3-point dogs, but I think they can cover just because. The Philly pass defense is just by the numbers the worst in the NFL. I think Mike Evans can have a big day. Chris Godwin felt a bit washed this year, but I still think he can produce. So Baker Mayfield just does not collapse in on himself, and he is fine. And Rachaad White's good. I think they got a legit shot versus the Eagles, who are right now running about as bad as you possibly can. A.J. Brown got banged up in that last game as well. Devontae Smith's hurt, and DeAndre Swift missed the game as well. And Jalen Hurts broke his finger for a minute. So that
was nasty. That looks like me freshman year with my pinky crooked.
Right, I remember that. But yeah, it's a full disaster in Philly. So I think the Bucks can upset.
Okay, Andrew.
Yeah, honestly, I struggle to find a team I would pick the Eagles to beat at this moment. You're going out there and losing to the Cardinals. That is incredible. Losing to the Cardinals. Obviously, the Giants, they sat most of their starters, but still, come on, losing to the Cardinals, the Giants, and even that Giants game, they played each other, 2 or 3 weeks ago. That game was competitive. That was a close game against the Giants. So although I'm not the highest on the Buccaneers, they're solid. Offense is solid, defense is solid, and I think a solid team right now beats these Eagles. It looks like the Eagles are lacking confidence. If Brown does not play, just another reason to really like the Buccaneers to go up there and get an upset.
Mm-hmm. Who do you guys think is at fault for the Eagles struggling? Do you think it's Sirianni? Do you think he's lost the locker room?
It might have something to do with. I just don't really think Jalen Hurts is that great of a quarterback. Sure, for fantasy purposes, the tush push, you get your free 6 points every single time. But the turnovers have finally caught up to him. Last year, he was just not getting the turnovers. This year, it's kind of going right back to the mean here where it should be. And I think some of his issues are being exposed a little bit, and teams are figuring it out.
For me, I'm going to go with the Bucs, dude. Not saying they're the best team, but the Eagles by far have been playing like the worst team to make the playoffs. They really have. It's so surprising to me. That Eagles defense is not the same as they were last year when they made the Super Bowl. That defensive backfield, I think I could get maybe 85 yards receiving, maybe a tutty in the red zone. I don't know. If I got CP throw me the rock, then maybe Brady getting double cover to get me loose. But yeah, what's your score prediction, boys?
I'm not sure there's going to be a ton of points put up because I'm picking the Bucs here, but they scored 9 points versus Carolina in a must-win game. So I
Right.
think it might be a bit ugly here, like a 2017 type of game here.
Mhm. The Panthers do have a good defense. Their defense is way better than the Eagles, I will say.
That is very true. Eagles
Yeah.
defense is just Swiss cheese out there.
Right. Right. They might have the all-white team at defensive back for all we know.
They might.
It's true.
Andrew, what you got?
Yeah, I think the Bucks probably put up some points. I mean, this Eagles defense is just, I mean, awful. I mean, what Kyler Murray and the Cards were able to do. I mean, yeah, Buccaneers 28, Eagles 21 for me.
Gotcha. For me, I'm going the Bucks 21, Eagles 10, and I think after the game, Jason Kelsey retires. It's gonna be sad for Eagles fans, but sorry, Eagles, you guys are going to get bounced in the first round. Maybe Sirianni gets fired after losing the first round. If Vrabel's available now, maybe he goes to the Eagles and they have a better shot to win it all. I don't know.
I did hear that AJ Brown was having some locker room issues with that team too, so that might be. I mean, if he's putting the stats above the team, it might be part of it too.
Yeah, it's just weird that collapse they've had. Really,
looks terrible.
Yeah. Well, fellas, do you have anything else to say? I think that wraps up the episode.
Well, how about some Super Bowl prediction? What do you think's gonna be in the Super Bowl?
Ooh, I like this. Man.
Who do you want to be in the Super Bowl, and who do you think's gonna be in the Super Bowl?
Who would I want to be in the Super Bowl? Obviously, I want my Brownies, and I think it would be fun to have Browns versus Lions. I know I picked the Rams to win this week, but could you imagine those two fan bases in the Super Bowl? I feel like every fan of the NFL would appreciate these cities have been dying for a Super Bowl. Let's let them have fun. That's my take.
That's what I was hoping you'd answer when I asked the question, because I think everyone would want the Browns and Lions. Because if you're a Browns fan, the Browns and Lions fans, they know the pain. So
right. Yeah. What about you, Andrew?
Who would I want to see in the Super Bowl? It would be the Browns versus whoever. I don't care about who's in the NFC team. But Browns would be first and foremost. Who do I think? I'm thinking the Ravens. I mean, it's hard to see the Ravens losing, to be honest. It would be a pretty big upset. The Browns went in there and beat them, but it's possible. But being realistic, I think the Ravens and the 49ers makes most sense to me.
I agree. My realistic pick, I would definitely go Ravens, 49ers, and the Super Bowl logo. Have you guys seen the color scheme? The script for the last 3 Super Bowls, it's been the teams that have played. So I don't know. Maybe
I'm
it's
looking at it right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna bet that right now. But
I do think the Bills got a decent shot at the Super Bowl. I know they've been a little up or down this year, but I mean they get I don't want to say a free win, but they should get a free win versus Pittsburgh this week, and then they should get KC after that, I believe. And KC obviously is a little iffy. So I think the Bills and Ravens would be a really good AFC Championship game.
That would be fire, no doubt. That wraps up this episode. Thank you guys for coming on. Everybody go check out Chris and Andrew's channel. They're doing big things. They're doing great. We'll see you next time. Please like and subscribe. Peace.
See you.